Okay, hello everybody. My name is Chance, and I am the designer for Viridescence, which is a creative resource platform that is using our Viriverse formula of circularity, art, and science to inspire sustainable read development for present and future generations. And you can hear, I think, probably my future generation here in little Milo, my son. Um, I want to make a quick introduction, say hello, and then I'm going to go away visually. I don't really want to be on camera too much. I think there's too much of people on camera these days. So I will lend my voice to this and let you see me, say hello. And then I'm going to hide behind my alter ego of the designer. So um, just to set the stage here, so what you are about to watch is the launching of our Vera blog, hashtag Vera underscore blog in the watch and listen medium. So each of our content pieces will often have various ways to engage. So you can read the blog in a longer written format. You can see and listen to the blog in this format, and you can swipe in Instagram land as well. So check those out as you wish, but of course pick the one you like and stick with it. That's great too. Please note that we will be evolving the accessibility of this. We want to have some captioning. We'll also have an auditory experience with some music and some fun things kind of integrated. For now, you'll see a little bit the visual experience with some graphics and things like that, but we will evolve the content as we go, and we want to make it as accessible for people as we can. So to start, this is the launching of our blog series in general, but specifically the Veraverse series, which will be an ongoing series that will talk about kind of the inner workings of us and what we're up to and what we're doing and what we believe in. And we'll continue to hopefully bring some inspirational, kind of immersive sort of experiences to wonder and enjoy your imagination a little bit and your creative lens. It'll also be a space for us to be accountable and transparent about the things we screw up, about the unsustainable actions that we make. The fact that I'm wearing a very cheap t-shirt from Walmart, not ethically sourced, but I did buy it like 15 years ago in high school, and it's still going strong. So I guess we're doing what we can. I didn't know any better back then, I guess. Um, and so, you'll see some of that too. A Viridescent World Begins, Part 1. Your photo today is Retrowave's Futures. The photographer is the designer, taken on Flathead Lake on a kayak in the middle of the night, the moon in abstract. Our tune today is The Times Are Changing by Bob Dylan. We thank you for your amazing inspiration. Our views are our own. This is not meant to represent your views. A little bit of research and sharing some of what your song was about, and then a little bit of our kind of opinion and insight and perspective. But our views are not meant to reflect Bob Dylan's views or any of the artists connected to the work that he created back in 1964. So, we start with a thank you to the Kismet crew. These wonderful friends and family, both new and old, have become a part of the creation of this concept from kind of conception to inception. March of 2020 got me rethinking everything: life, career, priorities. You all have been an inspiration somewhere over the course of either that stretch of time or my life. The Times They Are Changin' by Bob Dylan is one of the most important songs to grace American history and a personal favorite of mine. Upon its release in 1964, it put a voice to a very uncomfortable time in America. The attitudes of people that you'd consider American in voice, appearance, and culture were beginning to shift. Women were starting to ask, even expect, rightfully so, a say in important matters, more than just the ability to cast a vote. From the mid 50s to the late 60s, Black Americans mobilized and fought for equal rights. They deserved it, not for the least of which the gift they gave to our country in the form of rock and roll and a more diverse music landscape. We owe you a debt of gratitude just for that alone. Freedom of religion was as strong as ever, and the counterculture movement of the hippies was soon to begin. Civil rights were the talk of the time, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was finally instituted in our country after many hard won battles for basic human equality. Though, as we've seen today, in the last year or so especially, but last 4 or 5 years, that was only one part, a very big one, but only one part of a country continuing its evolution towards civil rights and the ever waging war against it. For the times, they truly were a change in Dylan. Power structures were being challenged. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway. Don't block up the hall. Dylan. Those who saw little opportunity in the early days of American Culture were forging their own chance at a better life. Prophesize with your pen, keep your eyes open. The chance won't come again. Dylan. It was a defining moment for our country. People typically have three responses to change. Number one, they fear it, anxiety. Number two, they embrace it. We can do this, let's go. Number three, holding on for dear life, somewhere in the middle of all of that, I suppose. As individuals, we've all experienced our own mix of this trifecta at some point or another. Sometimes, though, change brings us an opportunity that can't be ignored, one that must be embraced, for the stakes are too great not to. The chance to change everything while fearing it will change nothing. These moments bring out the best and worst in us. They shift perspective and they rattle priorities. They are bigger than one person, their community, their employer, or their industry. They dwarf a country and they can make the world feel very big or very small, depending on the perspective you have or the one you choose. The moments are so big that even if you want to seize it, you can't help but doubt it. For those who lived through 2020, you have a sense of such a moment. It was a tough year, one of the toughest in human history. A lot of death, but we've had bad years before, and maybe worse, I suppose, right? And there are likely rougher waters ahead. I'm here to say loudly and unafraid that 2020 was and is a defining moment for the human experience. We've been given a chance to reshape the future. It's time for us to write that heroic story that history will tell together, all of us. This is where the Viridescent story begins, but we are only one part of it. And really, we want to just be a pass through for all of the amazing stories that are going to take place over the next decade plus. For the times, they truly are a changing, Dylan. Okay, reader and listener, watcher. Welcome to the Viriverse, our immersive sustainability world brought to life by Viridescent. Let's begin with taking a breath. Just calm. Although I'm very excited to be doing this right now. Get present with us, maybe listen to our featured song, and fire up your imagination, pistons, cylinders, shift the gears, get ready, take a deep breath. We're going to the future. The year, 2050. The world is a vastly different place than it was 30 years ago. It's vastly different from anything modern humans have experienced, but with some element of a world seen thousands of years ago. Biodiversity has seen a regeneration, and global temperatures have settled down to an acceptable rise just under that 1.5 degrees Celsius from 2010 levels. The weather is a challenge sometimes, but humans have adapted. We've tackled wildfire challenges by leveraging the power of mushrooms. The spores are placed in the chainsaw oil of chainsaws and logging equipment and are spread during tree cutting. Mushrooms grow, mycelium spreads, the root systems of mushrooms. Wood chips are then spread from the tree cutting waste, a fairly new practice, enabling the mushrooms to decompose them. Vegetation thrives, creating a more resilient forest floor to reduce fire danger. Source, mycelium running by Paul Stamets, an actual application. We built up better storm defense technology in cities and on coastlines, such as these just amazing monolith-like structures that mitigate hurricane surges. They push the water back and convert the energy to a clean form that can be used by the affected region as they recover from the storm, because we do still have storms. Our national parks are doing well, so well, in fact, that the National Park Service has become one of the most circularly designed nonprofit organizations in the world. We'll talk circularity in a moment. Global relations are vastly improved, driven by an incredible transformation in the United States, a country that experienced an uncivil war back in 2020, frustrated all of us, now a beacon for how to reboot democracy. Other countries have continued leading, and much of the third world rose to prominence, a beautiful thing to see. The Sustainable Development Goals, while not achieved in full just yet, have seen some incredible progress. Communities turned out to be the key in solving the sustainability challenges of the 21st century. We discovered how to combine tribal living, a human tradition, and global connection, a human desire, using a mix of more self-sustaining communities and virtual platforms. We hope to be one of them. We now thrive in a shared economy. Community garden shares are all the rage. Microgrids dominate the energy infrastructure. Yes, macrogrid corporations are still playing a role, a big one actually, but it's because they innovated and transitioned and helped their people do so as well. People kind of still like their toys, but are more willing to share them and feel, I think, sometimes like they need less of them. Ownership is more of an allocation. Neighborhoods share autonomous cars, laundry services, to name just a couple of things. Plenty of folks still prefer to live off the grid and have their own space. In this future, off the grid means exactly what you hope it might. Those living deep in the wilderness are almost guaranteed to have their own solar or wind energy. Battery storage is uber efficient, driven by some fantastic innovations. Yes, Tesla was important in this. Hydropower is still relevant, but has become much more efficient. Dams are dying and smaller turbines are spinning strong. Technology that allows the flow efficient river nutrients to run freely once more. Imagine this, see the link in the written form of the blog, but more robust, powering riverside homes and towns. Very, very cool. Social sustainability is stronger than we've ever seen it. Healthy race relations have become a standard. Diversity is seen not as a threat, but an innovation instigator. We finally realized that well rounded voices and culture gives way to fair and just living, better society design. Consumer democracy, Western capitalism, however you choose to see it, has shifted away from the idea of infinite growth at the expense of society and the planet and into a place of circular innovation, making more money than ever, but distributing it a bit differently. Yes, we've seen a couple, in fact, hold the office of POTUS in America. That first happened in the 20s. Gross domestic product, bastard, no longer measures the world's success. Our economy now measures itself on gross domestic value, the value really being more like values. Our new success metrics are time, impact, happiness, and yes, money still has its place, but with a bit of soul. Source for this concept, This Could Be Our Future by Yancey Strickler. Wonderful book. Part of valuing time is often time spent in nature, though that still isn't for everybody, which is okay since most cities have become green cities. Rooftop gardens, open spaces, urban nature experiences are standard. The global economy now resembles the shape of a donut rather than a steep climb up the highest peaks of linear economy hell. Taking things, making things, wasting things, being the linear economy. Donut Economics by Kate Raworth is the book, but it gave us and the world a new model. While humans still have challenges in today's world, they have shifted to shared priorities. Oh, there's my little boy singing from the background. um, Shared priorities. Do you see a theme? Sharing. The COVID-19 pandemic showed many of us that humans are but of one species, a species that has some common enemies, disease being one of them. This shared threat gave us the template to unite against an even bigger existential threat in climate change. Rather than being some doomsday belief or political divider, it showed us the amazing capacity we have to band together. Countries embrace the Paris Accord. The ideas of haves and have nots no longer exist in this shared economy of ours. It's time is no longer spent arguing about wearing a fucking mask on your face. For the record, you should. When we now know that we have to deal with these impending challenges of a new existential threat, one human created, which I suppose climate change was the very same thing as well. Artificial intelligence. And also, yes, I said the fuck word, my apologies, but sometimes I will do that occasionally. There's a pretty compelling argument to be made that AI already exists, and in some ways it might have existed back in the 20s. We just didn't really know it. This technology is replacing human jobs at an alarming rate, and we're actively combating the problem, but it's a concern. So, in the sustainable jobs sector, one of the things we were successful in is transforming many of our economic systems and avoiding this job quaking, which is our kind of Vera vernacular for the creation of new jobs at the expense of old ones, such as fossil fuel workers not being able to transition to the clean energy sector, for example. Luckily, they did. Another topic for another day. We still have problems, though, some big and some small. Other content we'll explore all of those things to be had both from the future and back to the present in 2020, 2021. I guess I'm still stuck in 2020 because what a year. Time's weird these days. So, as we say goodbye from the future, we look back to all of you in 2021 and say thank you. Truly, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for believing the very best in us, and we mean humans. Humans are pretty special creatures. Yeah, they are a bit reactive and short sighted and often selfish. We all are. But when tested, they can do some incredible things. Don't get us wrong, we still have problems, but we've addressed a few of the big ones. And as you take all your actions going forward, whether that is educating yourself on the challenges ahead, volunteering in your community, or speaking up to your employer or government, always remember that the best of us is enough. Health of individuals, community, and the planet is essential. Remember that you aren't as smart as you think you are. You
Yes,
had
sir.
time to address the worst of it. It was close, but you did have time. Take comfort in the fact that we rebooted our way of life. And sorry, Milo's chiming in if you can hear him in the background. So, hi, Milo, everyone. And no, I will not show him to you, but you can hear him. Take comfort in the fact that we rebooted our way of life just in time. Call out those in power to make the changes that need to be made. But do it with a kind sort of approach and have a strategy. If you're going to call people out, have a solution to the problem. Dream big, reach for the stars, but always keep your feet firmly planted on the ground. You'll find more answers looking down than looking up. Riddle me that one, Batman. 2050 says hello, goodbye to all of you back in 2021. Your time is now. Seize the day, but not through a myopic lens because the future matters a great damn deal. The Vera abstract for this blog edition. Imagine a future with some countries and some religion, with a bit of peace and some possessions too. No need for greed or hunger because we share in the world's resources. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Credit and quoted, and with a little bit of our Vera flair on the amazing John Lennon's Imagine. Okay, back to 2021, friends. See you next week for the conclusion of this story with a little bit of hope, a lot of optimism, some realism, and all the imagination we can summon. Chance, aka the designer, and his masked and hidden partner in crime, the researcher. A quote to close us out. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model look obsolete. By Buckminster Fuller.